So I just spotlighted the video.
Okay.
Okay, you're the host.
Yep.
Okay, Steve, we're ready.
All right. Hey, friend, good afternoon.
What's up, guys?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, we'll get right to questions for Coach Fran McCaffrey. If you have a question, raise your hand in the participants window, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, our first question, Mike Halas. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, Fran. Just a rundown, if you would, on Gonzaga's personnel.
Yeah, they got a really good team. They got a lot of really good players. They have a post game with Timmy. They have depth. They've got a tremendous point guard in Jalen Suggs. They got shooters. They have slashers. Ayayi is really good. Kispert can really shoot it. And they have so many good players, Mike. They're veteran guys. They lose nothing when they go to the bench. They share it. They play fast. They move it. And there's a reason why they're ranked number one.
Don Doxey, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Fran, if you could talk specifically about Timmy and what kind of problems he's going to present for Luka.
Well, he runs and he's like a guard. He's 6'10", but he handles the ball really well. He makes moves in the post. He makes moves from the perimeter. He's really good at creating angles, and he passes the ball to his teammates. So those guys are a handful.
Our next question comes from Tom Kakert. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Fran. Just your guys have been really excited about this game. They are just pumped about playing this game. How excited are you to see them play against Gonzaga?
I think anytime you have an opportunity to play a program like that is terrific. You look at the remainder of our schedule, 20 league games after this. But, we took care of business in the first 6. You have an opportunity on a national stage to play the number 1 ranked team, a team that has pretty much been up there, last decade. Says a lot about who they have, their coach, Mark Few, their coaching staff. So, I think when you make a decision to play college basketball, you hope for opportunities like this on this kind of stage. And that's what we have. So I'm happy for the guys. And I think they're mature and smart enough to recognize the challenge before us.
Our next question comes from Jim Meehan. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Fran. I imagine that Luka has seen just about every defensive scheme in the book the last couple of years. I'm wondering if anything struck you as maybe the most exotic or extreme that people have thrown at him, and then just his ability to deal with everything that gets thrown at him.
Well, I think the important thing for him is, he's really good on the block, but he's not just strictly a low post player. So I think you're right. In the post, he's seen it all. They crowd him, they beat him up, they front him, they double from various locations. They double on the catch, they double on the bounce. They come late, they come early. So nothing phases him in that sense. And neither does the physicality, because he's used to that. So he'll keep coming. But I think the ability to move him around is what's critical. Play him in a high post, play him in a low post, play him at the top of the key, play him on the wing. I mean, you pretty much put him anywhere. And so there's a variety of things we can run. With the way he's shooting the 3-ball, with the way he's shooting the pull-up, his ability to make some plays for other people is really, critical if you're going to be playing against those kinds of defenses. You've got to be able to do a variety of things, and that's what he does.
All right, our next question comes from John Bonenkamp.
Fran, you've been able to you played 6 games, you've gotten them all in. Do you feel like this team really is in that normal in-season rhythm at this point, considering everything that's gone on?
I think, John, as normal as it can be, it's just still not normal. The buildings are empty. We haven't played a road game yet or a neutral game yet. So I do think the veteran nature of our team has enabled us to be mature enough what we do off the floor and then stay connected and stay together at practice and on the floor, because we all want to play. Those kids want to play. They want opportunities to play North Carolina, Iowa State, Gonzaga. And they want those opportunities. And like I always say, that's what they sign up for when they come here.
All right, Jarek, our next question. Go ahead.
Coach, with not having any fans, how is the team sort of handling that? Obviously, I'm sure they wish they could be playing the game, 1 versus 3 with a full arena. How are they sort of handling going into this game without any fans in attendance?
Yeah, I don't think they're really thinking about it or paying much attention to it. That's the way the games are going to be this year. Maybe later in the season that will change, but right now it's kind of what we're expecting. It's what we've experienced. Same thing for everybody we play. So I don't think they're thinking much of it. Just getting ready to play a great team and try to do the best we can.
All right, we'll go back to Mike Halas.
Fran, Suggs is being talked about as a potential lottery pick, even a very high lottery pick. What is it from what you've seen of him that separates him from maybe everybody?
You know what, Mike? He would have been a lottery pick last year if he could have come out of high school. It's a complete skill set, Mike. That's what it is. I mean, he can penetrate, get in the lane, find his teammates. He can play fast. He can play slow. He defends. He rebounds. He can shoot it. But really, really special at delivering the ball at the absolute perfect time, which is a gift. Very much like Jason Kidd. Remember when I saw him in high school. If you throw it 1 second later, 1 second earlier, it's a turnover. And when those guys throw it, it's an assist. So you really have to be locked in when he has the ball.
Tom Kakert.
Fran, this is your second trip up to the Sanford Pentagon. What do you like about that place, the facility, and just as a basketball arena?
Great arena. Deal with very professional people when you're, looking at scheduling and hey, we're going to play a game in Sioux Falls. You deal with Paul Seville, straight up guy, really good folks up there. The atmosphere, if it were different, would be nuts, and I think we all prefer that, like we said. But still, I think it will be an arena that looks really good, on national television, and two great teams competing, and we're looking forward to it.
Our next question comes from Zach Borg. Go ahead, Zach.
Coach, kind of on a similar note, I don't know how many guys, if there are any guys left from the last time you were there, but does the fact you've been here once before, you probably have your routine kind of for everything to do during the day, you have a routine set. Does it kind of benefit you that you played here once before and here's Gonzaga coming in? This is all kind of new to them, at least this.
I really don't think that matters at all, to be honest with you. We're all used to going to different venues. Both teams are veteran clubs. We got a few guys. Bohannon played up there. I think it was Luca's freshman year, but Connor played up there. But it's not that big a deal.
David Eicholt, go ahead.
Yeah, Fran, after Jalen had that scary thing back on December 2nd, Andrew Nebhard kind of took over that game. Just what does he bring to Gonzaga? It just seems like he's such a calming force for that team.
Yeah, the thing I like about him is he can run it, when Suggs is out, but they play well together. He can move off the ball and make plays, make shots. He played in the SEC. He was incredibly successful. So again, it's just a veteran guy that doesn't rattle, makes plays, makes the play that's there. Really talented guy.
All right. Further questions for Coach Fran McCaffery? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Okay.
All right, Connor, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go ahead with questions for Connor McCaffrey. Raise your hand in the participants window and we'll get right to questions. Okay, our first question comes from David Eichhold. Go ahead, David.
Connor, I asked your dad back in August if this was sort of the dream roster that he's ever like envisioned going to these, and you're part of is this sort of the team that you would dream up if to make a big run or take on, these type of teams and these type of games?
Yeah, I think this team obviously has a lot of shooters, a lot of scorers, a lot of guys that, make what I do pretty easy. And, so for me, passing the ball around, feeding the ball to guys in positions where they can score, that's something that, I always like to do. And having people around me like Luka, like Joe, like CJ, like Jordan, like Patrick, I mean, you can go down the line. It makes my job really easy. And, I think it makes the game more fun. We have a lot of guys that are high IQ basketball guys, and it makes it really easy to play. It makes our motion game really hard to guard. And, I think that's why, that's why we're thought of so highly offensively. And it's been really fun for all of us and for me especially.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Connor. Sorry, Connor, what was your first thought when you heard this game got scheduled? Did your dad tell you he might schedule Gonzaga? And I guess as a player, what did that do for you to hear that?
Yeah, no, he told me about it pretty early on. And I was excited about it because, just playing a game like this, Saturday game on CBS, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be highly competitive. They're obviously a really good team. And we're going to do a lot of scouting, a lot of stuff going into this game, but just even playing the game is something that I know everybody on the team has looked forward to, and now that it's here, I think we're all going to be locked in, and it's going to be fun.
Next question comes from Jim Meehan. Go ahead, Jim.
Connor, I asked your dad this as well, but I imagine you've seen just about every defense possible thrown at Luka these last couple years. Anything strike you as just being one that you maybe took a step back and said, "Oh, that's a new one. I haven't seen that." Anything like that you've seen?
Honestly, I feel like most of the defenses, Nebraska last year was probably the one that I was like, okay, like this is just weird, because I mean they pretty much tried to put 5 people in the paint, and they kind of got lucky. Like when we played up there, we shot like 4 for 100 from 3. But then when we played at home, like we won by 30, and that was the one that I would say is weird. Other than that, I think that most of the defenses that teams throw at Luka are predicated around kind of the same thoughts and ideas, whether it's doubling on the bounce, doubling on the catch, are they going to double off me? Are they going to double off the opposite post? Like if it's he and Jack in, where are they going to, or if they're not going to double at all and just press up on shooters and try to let him get, 40, which is honestly last year what Michigan did at their place when he had like 44 or whatever. They kind of just said, nobody else do anything and let's let him go. So, I think that all of these things go into the opponent's thoughts. Like, what are they going to do? A lot of teams just foul, like they just try to foul and just beat him up and see how long he can last, see how he can take it. And that was another thing too, that like against Carolina, a lot of people, I saw was like, oh, like he didn't have a good game. Like he had 4 7-footers all have 4 fouls. Like that people don't understand. Like people who don't know basketball don't understand that. So I mean, all of these things kind of go into a defensive game plan for us. And I think at this point, I think we have seen them all, but there definitely are some outliers that were a little bit interesting.
Tom Kakert.
Connor, I don't know if you're aware, a couple of weeks ago, Jordan kind of threw out there, hey, we think we're the #1 team in the country, and in a couple of weeks we'll take care of that kind of thing. How anxious are you guys to just show the country, what you guys are about on Saturday?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, going into a game like this, that's obviously what we're going to be out to try to prove. We're going to be I mean, like I said already, it's going to be an extremely competitive game, and they're trying to prove the same thing. So it's not like it's no different. And I think that our focus and everything that we go into the game with need to be, if we want to be the number one team, our focus and preparation needs to resemble that of the number one team. It's not like we can just go into it and kind of, oh, we're just going to play well, let's throw it to Luke. Like if we want to be the number one team, it's a different type of mindset. And I think that, we need to realize that early on. And I think we will, I think we have a mature team that will be able to do that.
Jarek, next question.
Hey, Connor, obviously a 1 versus 3 matchup is pretty exciting, but is there any level of disappointment not being able to play this in front of a filled arena with fans, or is that not even something on your guys' mind right now?
No, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Playing this game is going to be really fun, but that being said, playing it with fans, I don't think anyone on our side or Gonzaga's side would say that it wouldn't be better without fans, or with fans, sorry. Because, I just think that they just bring a completely different environment to the game, the intensity, the emotion, just everything that, Iowa fans bring to an atmosphere. It's just something that we all miss. And, and we've already even realized this, we were talking like our start against North Carolina, like how loud it would have been in Carver, against Iowa State when we were pulling ahead at the end of the second half and Luka's run end of the first half and then Luka's run in the start of the second half. How loud Carver would have been, how the fans would have been going nuts. These are just things that we all miss and we want to get back soon.
Mike Kloss.
Hi, Connor. Suggs. I don't know how much you've watched of him already, but what can you tell us what you see in him?
Yeah, no, I've seen him play in high school. I've seen him play all the way up. And I've seen a couple of their games this year. Obviously, I mean, he's just a ridiculous athlete. Somebody who's coming in transition, and they're gonna, I mean, I saw like his first college bucket was that alley-oop dunk over someone. So I mean, what he's bringing. I've seen a lot of him. He attacks the basket well. He can score at all 3 levels. I think he's a projected lottery pick, I'm sure. But I think that. I think we'll be prepared going into the game, and coach will lay out a good game plan, and I think that we've seen guys similar to him, and we'll have a plan set in place to try to combat everything he's doing. But obviously he's a really special player, but that's along with the other guys on their team as well. Timmy, Kispert, Ayayi, those are all guys. Nemhard, those are guys that all bring different things to the team, and we're gonna have to have a plan for all of them.
David Eichholt.
Yeah, Connor, big reason why you guys are rated so highly in the preseason. A lot of time you guys have talked about your team. It's because of your maturity and the experience that you guys have. Over the last year, in what specific ways have you seen the maturity and the experience and just the true growth for you guys to be able to adapt that we're the number one team mindset?
Honestly, in my opinion, I would say the biggest thing that our maturity kind of shows up in is our unselfishness. I think that, when there's a younger team, maybe guys are thinking a little bit more about, who's playing, who's scoring, who's getting shots. And I don't get a sense of that with this team. And I didn't this year, and I didn't last year either. I think that it's something, I mean, we have a lot of guys who are very, very skilled and good enough to play at a lot of places, but, I think everybody buying into their role and understanding that, some games Luka might get the shots, and Luka knows that some games teams are going to be taking him away, and then he'll, Jordan and CJ and Weezy and me and whoever, and the people on the outside will get the shots. It's an unselfish mindset that I think, a mature team, really kind of adapts to. And I think that that's kind of been our biggest thing, is everyone just accepting their role and just buying into that.
Jim Meehan.
Connor, both these offenses obviously really high powered. You guys, I think, are over 100 a game. If you had to boil it down, what's kind of first priority or job one when you're trying to slow Gonzaga down on Saturday?
I think it would be transition. That would be the one thing, because I know that they play fast. Obviously they're going to be the same thing about us, because if you want to keep teams out of the hundreds, transition is the first thing you got to stop. I think, that's how you're going to get a lot of points, get a lot of shots up. There's been games where I'm like, wow, I don't even think we played that well on offense. We scored, 95 or 100, like, honestly. So, I think that it just comes from playing fast and having a good game plan. And so, I think going into this game, if we can slow them down in transition, that will be key, because it will, it'll help us, because our stacked defense will be playing against them. And maybe that's going to be their game plan as well. Who knows?
All right, our final question for Connor comes from Zach Borg. Go ahead, Zach.
Connor, I believe you played in the Sanford Pentagon the last time Iowa was here. Obviously, as we said, it's going to be different without fans, but what were your impressions of the building? And if you can't have a game like this, obviously at Carver Hawkeye Arena, is it kind of nice to have it in a venue you're at least not unfamiliar with?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an amazing venue. It was definitely one of the coolest places I've played in, up to this point, up to the point of my freshman year when we played. It's brand new is what it felt like. I mean, that environment was crazy, because it was pretty much all Hawkeye fans. So that was fun. Obviously it's going to be a little bit different, but I'm sure it'll still be a really cool layout. You've seen pictures of teams playing there, up to this point in the season. And, it's a place that, I think that we're looking forward to playing in, and I'm sure, a lot of other teams do as well. It's been a great venue this year for college basketball.
All right, thanks for your time today.
All right.
Good luck Saturday, and we'll bring in Luca Garza. All right, Luca, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
We're good. We're good. All right, we'll get right to questions for Luca. Raise your hand if you would, and we'll get started here. David, go ahead. David Eichholt.
Yeah, Luca, I think you guys and Gonzaga are probably two of the best offenses in the country. See a lot of similarities between the way they like to run things and their team versus you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think both teams push the ball. Both teams have shooters, and both teams can score on the inside. So I think it's very similar. I think, both teams are just, really aggressive offensively, and they're just looking to attack. So you definitely see similarities, and we're really excited for this matchup.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Luke, I know you're a student of the game, and you really kind of relish these moments. I mean, what does it mean to you to be able to play the number one team in the country on national TV?
It means the world. It's what you dream about when you were a kid, working out, and it's what, I've worked towards my whole career, and I'm going to continue to work to get in these type of moments for the rest of my life. So.
All right. Further questions for Luca? Go ahead, Rob Howe.
Luca, obviously it's a huge game, but also have to keep it in perspective, win or lose. It's a long season. How do you guys do that?
We're looking at it as an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to improve. And that's how we look at every single game. We treat every game the same way. This is no different. The next game on your schedule is the most important game. So, we're just keeping it like that. We know this is an opportunity to improve against a really good team. And that's all we're looking at it as.
Jarek, go ahead.
Luca, obviously the matchup between 1 and 3 is going to be really exciting for you guys, but is it disappointing at all that you guys are going to be playing in an empty arena? Does that take any of the fun out of it, or is that sort of in the back of your mind right now?
Honestly, no. It would be the same for me if we were playing outside in the park as we are in front of 15,000 fans. I love to play the game of basketball, so whenever I can, it doesn't matter what's going on around that. I'm just focused on, playing. So, obviously, it would be awesome to play in there and obviously like it was my freshman year, be packed with Hawkeye fans. But, we know that's not the case this year, and we want to stay as healthy as possible. So, we are just really excited for this game, either way. We'd play it anywhere, outside, inside, LA Fitness, it doesn't matter.
Jim Meehan?
Hey, Luka, curious, I asked your head coach and Connor the same question, but you've probably seen just about everything defensively that teams can throw at you. I think Connor mentioned Michigan game, Nebraska game down there. What sticks out to you as the kind of the most exotic or extreme measure teams have thrown at you?
There's a lot of them. When you look back, each team, especially when you're in the Big Ten, the coaches in the Big Ten game plan, so well. And so I definitely have seen an array of different kind of defenses. Obviously, Nebraska might be the most extreme I've ever seen. With having three guys on me at all times. The guy in the ball was back in my lap. The guy guarding me was behind me, and then they had a guy from the weak side in the paint, watching my side. So, I think that's probably the most extreme I've seen, which was a complete triple team the entire game. I've seen boxing ones at different points in my career, and that's always extreme. But for me, I play every game the same way, and I just read and attack where I can affect the game. I know, getting to the glass, anything, if I'm getting triple team, I can get to the glass and get buckets and second chance points for our teams. And I can also, when I catch the ball, be able to find my teammates and everything like that. So, I think over time, I've played a lot of defenses, and I know how to react and adjust, to different defenses. And I think that's an advantage of just being an experienced guy.
Mike Halas?
What is your opinion of Drew Timme? What's Timme going to problems or challenges that you'll face against him?
I think he's a tremendous player. I've definitely watched him this year and obviously last year as well. I think he's developing into one of the best players in college basketball. So, obviously, like I've said before, I'm a competitor and I like to play against the best. So it's gonna be a fun matchup. He's a very skilled guy, and he knows how to score the ball. And so that's going to put pressure on our defense, and we know it's going to be a team effort to guard a guy like that.
Zach Borg, go ahead.
Luka, what did you think the first time you went up to that facility, the Sanford Pentagon facility? I know it's going to be empty this time, and if you're going to play in an empty gym, it's not obviously as big as a lot of the places you play. Is that maybe going to help that it's a little more of an intimate atmosphere, and maybe will help with the atmosphere that everybody will kind of be able to hear everybody a little bit more in a place like that?
Yeah, no, I definitely loved playing there my freshman year. It was a really nice environment. Obviously, the fans help, but the court itself is really, really nice. And obviously, people have talked about it as a shooter's gym, and I definitely agree with that statement. So it's definitely, one of the places I enjoy playing in highly, and I'm looking forward to being able to play in there again. But I think, like I said, we treat every game the same no matter where we're playing. And it's going to be fun to play in this arena, but, we're focused on what we can do and how we can go out there and show our best effort.
Mark Emmert?
Yeah, Luka, do you go into a game like this with a pretty good idea of how they're going to defend you and have an idea of what you want to do against that? Or do you think you're going to have to adjust possession by possession to what they might do?
Honestly, our coaches help prepare me in terms of looking at what they've done in the past to other bigs and other players who can score in the post. So I think once we start watching more film about how they defend big guys, I'll have an idea. But you never really know until the game starts, and I think that's another thing is you got to understand the first 4 minutes of the game you're gonna have a good feeling for how they're going to defend you for the rest of the game. So for me, that's a big time for me to just know how I can adjust and how I can attack the defense that's in front of me.
And Jim Meehan?
Luka, I'd imagine with your presence inside, it obviously helps the perimeter guys, the shooting and the three balls. How about both directions? How much does their shooting help you out and vice versa?
It helps me a lot, especially when we look at, teams that are going to try to double team and triple team me. It's really going to, be hard for teams to really make that decision. Like some teams did last year with, the even more shooters we have this year. Adding, when you have, every guy in the core that can shoot the ball at a very, very high level, it's hard, and teams really need to make a decision on what they're going to do. So for me, it also creates a lot of space because, their coaches are telling them to help off, whoever to come double team me. But, in game, a guy, if Weezy's hit a couple threes, they're not going to help off. And so that's going to be easy for me to have more space in the lane. So, it's such an advantage. And, like I said, it's why I came back to play with this team, because I knew the potential of the group, and I knew, how I could fit in, with all the space that they provide by their ability to shoot the ball.
All right. Any further questions for Luka today? All right. Thanks, Luka. Good luck Saturday. Appreciate your time.
Thank all of you.
Thank you.
All right, Jordan, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We'll go right to questions for Jordan Bohannon. All right, David Eckhoff, go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan, do you see a lot of similarities between you guys and Gonzaga to run the floor? You guys both have shooters. And if so, does that really play an advantage in preparing for this game?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between us. We got a lot of shooters on each team, and we score a lot of points. So that's going to make for a very fun game to watch at the end of the day for fans. So I think that aspect's going to be fun for us just to play in that game, and especially to be in the neutral site of Stanford. We really wish we had fans there, because that'd be definitely a home game for us, as we saw my sophomore year when we played Colorado there. But it should be a fun environment nonetheless.
Mark Emmert.
Yeah, Jordan, what did you think when you first heard that Fran had scheduled this game for you guys? It's one of the marquee matchups in non-conference basketball this year.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, especially for me being my last year here, and all the things I've went through these last couple of years, and be able to play this high ranked team like Gonzaga is, and how well we're ranked this year, and the plans that we have, and they have the same goals and plans that we have. So there's a lot of similarities between our teams, and a lot of experience between the both of us. So I think it's definitely going to be a little sneak peek of what a Final Four national championship game could look like between us two, and hopefully we play up to our potential.
Are you seeing this as kind of a measuring stick game for you guys, or a statement game, or how are you viewing this?
It's another important game. This is the most important game on our schedule. The next game mentality that we're going to keep having. At the end of the day, we think that we're the best team in the country, and we want to go out there and show it. Being a statement game, I think we've kind of already shown the kind of team that we have and what we're able to do this year. And I think it's another opportunity, I guess you could say, for us to continue to build our resume for the end of the year.
All right, further questions for Jordan? Anyone else for Jordan? Go ahead, Mark. Do you have another question?
Yeah, I'll keep going. So I guess with that in mind, how do you kind of keep this from being too much of a pressure on you guys? It's only December, so being number one in December doesn't mean the same as what in March. It's not a make or break game, obviously, right?
It's not a make or break game, and that's kind of what you have to look at. There's a lot of 30 plus games we're going to play this year, and the chances are we're going to lose a game this year, whether I hate to say it or not. It's just what's going to happen. The way our conference is set up this year, it's going to be a battle every night out. So we have to realize that there's going to be games that we might not play well, but at the end of the day, we have to work the next day following that day, and realize what the end goal is, and that's to win a national title.
Mike Halas, go ahead.
What do you think about Gonzaga's players?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a couple of games this year. Watched them in their Thanksgiving tournament a little bit, and Jalen's definitely a very high skill player, and he's going to be a hassle to guard. So he's someone that I'm studying a lot to see what I can take away if I do end up guarding him and matching up with him, and see what they have a lot of shooters as well. So it's going to be kind of a similar game. It's really just guarding us. I feel like looking at their team, because they're really similar to how we play and how we run our offense.
Zach Borg, go ahead.
Jordan, you had a pretty good game the last time you were in the Sanford Pentagon, obviously with the exception of the fact there won't be any fans. What did you remember about the building? And if you're a shooter, is it a pretty good place to be shooting in?
Yeah, it's really like a high school gym, honestly, and brings me back to my high school days. And it feels like, a century ago I played there, because it's sophomore year. It's been about 4 years now, but I remember how intense that atmosphere was. That was probably one of the most fun places I've ever played in, just because it was filled to the brim with just Iowa fans. And, that was something that I always look at and remember for the rest of my life, because that was one of the most fun games, like I said. And it's unfortunate there's no fans, but at the end of the day, we're playing in a really cool arena, and something that we signed up to play for and play against.
Jarek?
Obviously, the circumstances of this season are a little bit different just because of the pandemic. Obviously, you don't want to see any teams having to take time off because of COVID, but that's just the nature of the season. Do you guys, coming off of such a great week and them sort of being sidelined for a while, do you feel like that gives you any sort of an advantage heading into this game?
Not really, just because we know how skilled Gonzaga is, and you look at throughout the country the games that are being played. There's so many upsets that are happening. Kentucky. Well, the odds in Kentucky starting, I think, 1-4, 1-5, and Duke losing and deciding to cancel the rest of their non-conference schedule. It's a crazy, crazy college basketball season right now. So we really can't take any game for granted. Can't take any day for granted, because we could wake up one day and have to be out for 14 days and have to watch all our opponents play instead of us playing. So I think it's just us keep being smart and being fortunate to continue to play. And at the end of the day, there's so many skilled players out there and a lot of skilled teams that we can't take one for granted.
And Jim Meehan?
Yeah, I was going to ask about both teams obviously can score a ton of points, play up tempo. What do you consider kind of the first priority in trying to slow down Gonzaga?
Well, obviously the first one is whenever someone's scoring a lot of points, you look at, points off, turnovers, fast break points. And that's something we try to do as a high offensive team ourselves, is try to turn the other team over and get fast break points. So usually when we're scoring a lot of points, we're scoring a lot of fast break points. And so at the end of the day, that comes down to our offense, taking care of the ball and not, getting them off on runs and letting them get easy buckets that way. So I think that's a good place to start. But after that, it's just playing, full 30 seconds on the shot clock on defense and locking into all the personnel out there. Granted, it's going to be a high scoring game. That's just how it is. That's just how both of our teams play. We have to realize that, but we have to make sure that we get stops at the certain spots that we need to, if we're taking a lead, to really extend the lead at that point.
David Eichholt?
Yeah, Jordan, you guys are obviously ranked really high in the preseason. Basically, a couple of reasons included maturity and experience. What have you seen over the last 8-9 months about just the signs and the growth as far as maturity goes within this team, and how much of a factor do you think will play, especially given, the circumstances in the world in college basketball right now?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, there's a lot of teams that are going, having to quarantine 14, 10 days, however the protocols are. And, there's not a lot of things you can do to try to protect yourself from the virus, just because how much it's out there, and try not to let it spread. But I think us being an experienced team and realizing what our end goal is us really kind of buying into, playing basketball right now, and really not, going outside our social circle and having that chance of us shutting down for 14 days or something like that. I think that's been the key thing for us, being an experienced team, wanting to win a national title, to being really locked in and being smart around who we're with. And, it's really just getting up, going to practice, coming home, go to bed, get up, go to practice, go to home, go to bed. That's just been our schedule, and that's what our routine will continue to be. And I think that's really making all of us work harder in practice and getting shots up after practice and before practice. And I think that will pay dividends at the end of the year.
All right. Any further questions for Jordan? All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jordan, for your time today. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for participating.
Do you know where we can get a transcript?
Yes. If you're on the email list, contact Matt Weitzel. We will have a transcript of Coach McCaffrey today, not players.
Probably in the next 20 minutes.
Okay, so just send him an email. That works?
Yeah, Matt can get that to you.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.